Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Good morning. Thanks for tuning in for 23 ABC News at 5 a.m. on this Monday. I'm Danielle Kernkamp.
I'm Mike Hart. Glad you're here. Let's bring in Emma Lockhart sitting in for Elena this morning because Elena didn't want to deliver the bad news. So she sent Emma.
She said Emma can do it today.
Yeah, I'll be the bearer of bad news. It's going to be another hot one in Kern County. Surprise.
No.
But thankfully, cooler temperatures on the way and our air quality is improving. So yeah, not all bad news here. 74 right now in Bakersfield, so it's already warming up, 1 degree warmer than it was at this time yesterday. Warm temperatures across the county, upper 60s in some areas of the valley, mid 70s here in Bakersfield, 71 at the Grapevine right now, as well as in Fraser Park, 60 in Pine Mountain Club, 64 in Tehachapi, 73 in Lake Isabella, 77 out in Mojave. Now our air quality is improving and those wind speeds are going to be picking up later on this afternoon. I'll have details on the cool down also right around the corner.
This morning, President Trump doubling down on his comments, telling Democratic Congresswomen to, quote, go back to where they came from.
The president's comments are coming as ICE launched deportation raids that so far, according to some officials, have only resulted in small-scale action. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi has the latest.
This morning, new tweets from President Trump targeting Congresswomen of color, still not naming names but criticizing Democrats for defending the women who, in an earlier tweet, he told to go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came. The president not only evoking an old and widely established racist phrase, but failing to acknowledge that 3 of the 4 minority congresswomen the comments were directed at were born in the United States, the other a naturalized citizen. And now overnight, Trump tweeting in part, quote, their disgusting language and the many terrible things they say about the United States must not be allowed to go unchallenged.
A group of people that came from, I don't know where they came from.
Democrats have been quick to condemn the president's comments, calling it, quote, xenophobic and hate-filled.
I am freaking appalled that the president of the United States conducts himself in such a disgraceful and racist way.
All 4 women have been highly critical of Trump's immigration policies and the president's long-threatened deportation raids that launched Sunday.
They're going to take people out and they're going to bring them back to their countries.
The major operation to arrest and deport up to 2,000 undocumented immigrants sparked nationwide protests and instilled fear in migrant communities. But so far, immigration groups and local officials say they haven't seen it. New York's mayor tweeting, quote, no confirmed ICE activity. ICE, however, confirms it's out there. And for the past week, it was actually House Speaker Nancy Pelosi who was feuding with the 4 Democratic congresswomen over her support for the border aid package. And it took the president's comments to unify the Democratic Party as Pelosi and others came to their defense. Mona Kosar Abdi, ABC News, Washington.
3 firefighters suffered minor injuries while knocking down a growing brush fire in Southern California. The so-called South Fire, here it is, spread quickly over the weekend along steep, rugged terrain in the Fillmore area of Ventura County. Firefighters were able to get the upper hand and stop the progression after it charred about 131 acres. At last check, it was 60% contained. We'll have new numbers at first light. According to the Ventura County Fire Department, the cause was determined to be target practice on private property. Ground crews are expected to remain on scene and put out any hot spots.
The woman believed to be caught on video dragging a dog behind a scooter while riding through a local neighborhood is set to be in court this week. Elaine Rosa is facing felony animal abuse charges. Back in January, a video surfaced showing a woman on an electric scooter while a dog was being dragged behind her. That woman is believed to be Rosa. Back in February, the district attorney's office filed charges and Rosa turned herself in. She's due in court tomorrow at 9 a.m. Also due in court tomorrow, the North High School equipment manager accused of inappropriate sexual contact with multiple victims. 40-year-old Eden Rodriguez faces 11 felony and 13 misdemeanor charges for inappropriate behavior at North High dating all the way back to 2015. He was charged back in February. He's pled not guilty. Rodriguez is due in court tomorrow at 9 a.m.
If you are headed out this morning and you plan on filling up, we have some good news for you. According to GasBuddy.com, gas prices have actually dropped about 4.5 cents per gallon in the last week. The average price for a gallon of regular unleaded about $3.74. The lowest price in Bakersfield is $3.32. That is at the On the Go food store gas station at 2501 River Boulevard in northeast Bakersfield.
This week, SunPower and Bakersfield College are teaming up to host the 4th annual Kern Solar Energy Academy for local high schoolers. The Summer Academy is a 5-day project-based learning experience. Teams function as a solar company to design a residential solar system over the course of 5 days. Afterwards, they present their project to a panel of judges. Not only will students be getting hands-on experience, but they also get to meet professionals and experts in the solar industry this week. The Kern Solar Academy kicks off this morning at 8:30 and runs through Friday.
Calling all local softball players. Cal State Bakersfield softball team's hosting instructional camps this week beginning today. The runners will host the instructional youth camp geared towards girls 6 to 13. Gives the young players a chance to learn from Division I coaches and play alongside student athletes. Kind of cool. Today's camp costs $60 and starts at 9:30 this morning, runs till noon. Tomorrow's camp will be an instructional prospect camp for girls in 8th through 12th grade. That camp costs $150 and runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
This Thursday, you have the chance to enjoy some wine, fun, and help give back to a good cause. Alpha Canine Sanctuary is hosting their annual fun and fundraising event out at Imbibe Wine and Spirits this week. The local rescue sanctuary will have a raffle, wine, and food all at Imbibe, with 100% of the proceeds going toward keeping the no-kill shelter up and running with food, toys, and spay and neutering assistance. The public is welcome to attend, but you do have to be 21 years or older. The event is happening from 5 to 8 p.m. You can make a reservation by calling 661-633-9463.
The fair is coming to town in Paso Robles this week. The Mid-State Fair, known for hosting big music names, and this year the music acts include Cardi B, Blake Shelton, Zac Brown Band, Miranda Lambert, and Old Dominion. Of course, you can also look forward to the rides, games, exhibits, horse show, and of course the fair's food. The Mid-State Fair starts on Wednesday, and that's also the day that you can enjoy free carnival rides. It goes through July 28th.
Now let's take a look at some of the events that are going on around Kern County this week. You can get a little exercise in when the sun sets because the full moon bike ride is back. Bike Bakersfield hosts it tomorrow. Organizers say great chance to engage with other residents and bring the bike community together. Starts at Beach Park on Oak and 21st at 8 p.m. You will head along the Kern River Parkway Trail before ending at the Marketplace in the southwest. Lights and helmets are strongly encouraged and recommended for all riders. Hey, speaking of the Marketplace, another concert by the Fountain this week. Rod P. and New Standard will be performing multi-genre hits Thursday from 7 to 9. Concert series at the Marketplace runs through the end of the month in August. All right, let's bring in Emma. Are things going to tail off this week at the end of the week?
Yeah, no, we'll be cooler. So perfect for Thursday for that event. We'll be actually below average then. Taking a look at yesterday, we reached a high of 104, so well above average for this time of year. We should be in the upper 90s. We're still tracking the triple digits today, so we're going to be warming up to the low 90s by noon, reaching the upper 90s by about 2 p.m., then reaching those triple digits, topping out at 100 here in Bakersfield, with the triple digits expected to continue through your evening. Sunny skies throughout the day, but thankfully our air quality improving. We had a few days of unhealthy air quality for sensitive groups. We're now in the moderate range with a forecasted AQI of 90. So hopefully those hazy conditions here in the valley improve as well. Triple digits across the valley today, 95 at the Grapevine. Over in our mountain communities, upper 80s in our southern mountains, 95 in Lake Isabella. Hot in our desert cities, upper 90s to triple digits, but that cool down is on the way. I'll have those details coming up.
Still to come here at 5 a.m. It's been months since the Notre Dame Cathedral went up in flames. We have an update on the progress to rebuild.
And we're just less than a week away from the 50th anniversary of man's first steps on the moon. I remember that. We'll take a look back at the historic moments. Straight ahead, it's 5:10. We got a lot to do. This is 23 ABC.
Welcome back to 23 ABC. No major traffic incidents to report at this time, but there is a road closure from Weibel Road to Alamo Street due to construction. And there was one northbound lane closed on the 99 near the 58. That is now open and traffic is flowing freely at this time.
We're getting a look at the reconstruction progress for the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris 3 months after a disastrous fire devastated the world's most famous landmark. The work site is in a high security zone. Few people are let in, and they're given the high concentration of lead from the melted roof. They're all required to wear special protective jumpsuits. On the roof, a gaping hole where the fire burned most fiercely. Engineers on site say studies will need to be made when the walls of Notre Dame are thoroughly dried out to determine how much weight they can bear. Still, they believe President Macron's 2024 deadline for rebuilding Notre Dame is possible.
Wow. Jeffrey Epstein, the man accused of luring young teens to his mansions and paying them for sex acts, could get out of jail today. The bail hearing is set for this morning. Epstein says he'll give up his house, plane, and passport and pay for his own house arrest and be tracked. Epstein's lawyers say he should be let out because he's behaved since his last plea deal in 2005. Prosecutors maintain, though, that he hasn't behaved based on these accusations, and they say he's a flight risk with almost infinite means. Juul's CEO says he's sorry to parents of teen vapors. It's part of a new documentary that comes out today called Vaporized: America's E-Cigarette Addiction. CEO Kevin Burns says he's empathizing as a dad, saying, quote, "I'd say I'm sorry that their child's using the product, and that, quote, I hope there was nothing that we did that made it appealing to them." Burns admitted there is not enough research on the long-term impacts of e-cigarettes. Juul shut down its social media pages and stopped selling sweet-flavored vaping liquid as part of its effort to stop teen vaping. And more American companies are now shifting production out of China and into other countries. The Wall Street Journal says companies that make things like Crocs, the Roomba vacuums, and GoPro cameras have all started moving production to places like Vietnam, India, and Malaysia to avoid tariffs.
Nearly 1 million Facebook users say they're going to raid Area 51 in Nevada on September 20th in a quest to see aliens. More than 800,000 others say that they're interested as well. The Facebook event page is titled Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us. And it states we can run faster than their bullets. It's inviting users from all around the world to join a Naruto run into the area. That's a Japanese manga-inspired running style featuring arms outstretched backwards and heads forwards. The mysterious Area 51 has, of course, been the subject of conspiracy theories for decades. Many people believe the U.S. government stores its secrets about UFOs and aliens at that military site. The invitation comes a few weeks after a group of U.S. senators was briefed about reported encounters between the U.S. Navy and an unidentified aircraft or unidentified flying object.
It's not going to end well. The Apollo Mission Control Center is getting a makeover this week. The center being fully restored to appear as it did in the era of the Apollo 11 moon landing.
This all coming just in time for the 50th anniversary. ABC's Maggie Rulli gives us an inside look.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Stepping into the restored Apollo 11 mission's operations control room, it feels like that message just came over the speaker.
Beautiful view. Isn't that something?
July 20th, 1969, America becomes the first country to put a man on the moon. And every mathematical calculation, every decision had to be cleared through this room. Apollo 11 flight director Gene Kranz says it feels like he's stepping back in time.
The people that lived here and worked here, the room talks to them.
The $8.5 million project recreated every detail, down to the data on the computer screen, the ashtrays, even a specific crew member's coffee cup.
We had to get the exact colors of coffee cups, even the patterns of coffee cups. The girl that was in charge of this spent hours and hours on eBay and Etsy and in antique shops and thrift stores.
Sandra Tetley, the Johnson Space Center Historic Preservation Officer, says it took her team 6 years to make everything just right, digging through mission control records and the few videos that existed from that day.
You are telling history, so it needs to be exact.
Krantz says it's nearly perfect. And walking into the restored room, he's brought back to the raw emotion of that historic day.
This room was really stirring, and the emotional intensity in this room was, almost overwhelming. It was the kind of thing that it only happens once in your life.
Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
And taking a look at those cooler temperatures on the way, we have low pressure that's going to be moving in today, moving in even more tomorrow. So we're going to be cooling down to the upper 90s, more seasonal for this time of year. And those more seasonal temperatures are going to continue throughout the week. And those wind speeds look like they'll be picking up later on this evening, reaching 21 miles per hour in Tehachapi, 23 in Lake Isabella, 34 out in Mojave, 15 in Frazier Park, 7 here in Bakersfield. Looks like they'll pick up even more in those overnight hours, headed into those early morning hours tomorrow, especially in our mountain passes as well as in the desert. So somewhat of a relief to those high temperatures, but like I said, cooler temperatures on the way, upper 90s tomorrow, so more seasonal for this time of year. That's where we should be. And then even below average temperatures by the end of the week, reaching those mid 90s by Thursday. And it looks like about my graphic will go. Okay, well, mid 90s by the end of the week. Mid 90s up in the Kern River Valley today, low 90s headed into tomorrow. And then we'll see those low 90s for the end of your week headed into the weekend. 87 in Tehachapi and sunny skies. Mid 80s tomorrow. And it looks like those mid 80s will be sticking around with an increase in cloud cover for your midweek, but mostly sunny skies. Those skies clearing even more by the end of the week headed into the weekend. 87 also in Frazier Park today, and those mid 80s will return tomorrow.
Still to come, we've got a recall to tell you about this morning. Take a look. Tell you might want to throw out a package of ground beef for what they found inside.
And a judge setting a deadline for an e-cigarette company, how long they have to comply with the FDA. That and much more after the break.
5:22 now. The Democratic Republic of Congo confirms a case of Ebola in the city of Goma. It's the first case of Ebola since the start of the outbreak nearly a year ago. The country's Ministry of Health says a sick pastor arrived in the city by bus Sunday from Butembo, where the outbreak began. The ministry says the risk of the disease spreading in Goma is low, and the bus driver and 18 other passengers will be vaccinated today. More than 1,600 people have died in the Congolese outbreak, the second largest Ebola outbreak in history. The largest was in West Africa in 2014, killed more than 11,000 people.
A federal judge has ruled that e-cigarette companies must apply to the Food and Drug Administration for a public health review within 10 months. The FDA has to impose the May 2020 deadline following a previous decision by the judge in a lawsuit filed by health groups, including the American Academy of Pediatrics. In 2017, the agency allowed e-cigarettes to stay on the market until 2022 before companies applied for authorization. Products were also permitted to remain on the market indefinitely during review. The judge ruled in May those actions by the FDA were illegal. Products that submit applications by the May deadline will be allowed to remain on the market for up to a year during the review process. The FDA can remove products that miss the deadline.
A Michigan-based company is recalling ground beef due to a, unexpected ingredient. Ada Valley Gourmet Foods, based in Ada, Michigan, recalling almost 3,500 pounds of raw ground beef meatloaf due to possible contamination with broken metal bits. This is according to the USDA. That's a picture of those bits. The frozen beef was produced May 20th of 2019 and shipped to hospitals in 3 states, Arizona, Nevada, and California. The recalled beef was shipped in 5-pound packages, are marked with the lot code 17034. Right there on your screen. So far, there have been no confirmed reports of any adverse reactions due to these products.
Many of us take dietary supplements. In fact, more than half of Americans do.
But as reporter Meredith Woods explains in today's Health Minute, most of the supplements on the market today don't do much to help your heart.
Probiotics, multivitamins, vitamin C. There's a good possibility you take some kind of dietary supplement. But are they really doing any good? According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, 52% of American adults use these pills. But new research says that most vitamins and minerals found in these supplements actually don't do anything for your heart health. In fact, they may even increase your risk of a stroke. The Annals of Internal Medicine did find that omega-3 fatty acids, commonly found in fish oil, reduce the risk of heart attacks and coronary heart disease. But the group says almost everything else had no significant significant effect on mortality. Instead, one potential option research says that can help your heart is a simple change in diet. Researchers found limited evidence that a low-salt diet may reduce the risk of death, but only in those with high blood pressure. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
We still have a lot more to do in our next half hour. Looking for something to do outside this week? Well, we'll tell you how you can watch the sunset alongside some local animals.
And today is Amazon's biggest day of the year. We're looking at some of the deals surrounding Prime Day coming up next.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Millions of people along the Gulf Coast under a flash flood warning today as Tropical Depression Barry continues to drop a significant amount of rain throughout the week. We'll tell you where it's headed.
And as utilities around the state begin public safety power shutoffs, Kern County officials are working on a plan in case we find ourselves without electricity.
And a good morning once again. Thanks for staying with 23 ABC News at 5:30 on this Monday. I'm Mike Hart.
I'm Danielle Kernkamp. Let's bring in Emma Lockhart to get a quick check of your forecast on this Monday to start the week. It's a little bit warm,
it's
toasty
a little bit warm,
to start
just
the day.
a little bit, you know. But thankfully, wind speeds are picking up.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
A little bit of a relief from the heat, but not by much. 5-mile-per-hour winds right now in Bakersfield, 16 in Lebec, 6 in Tehachapi, and 5 in Lake Isabel. They'll be picking up even more later on this afternoon, so breezy conditions. Temperatures already warm outside, 74 right now in Bakersfield, 72 at the Grapevine, 62 in Pine Mountain Club, 70 in Fraser Park right now, 63 in Tehachapi, 75 in Lake Isabella, 77 out in Mojave, 75 in Ridgecrest. We are tracking triple digits again today, but thankfully it looks like those upper 90s will be topping out in the valley tomorrow. So cool down is on the way, and thankfully our air quality is improving. We have moderate air quality today. We had a few days of unhealthy air quality for sensitive groups. So yeah, it looks like those hazy conditions will get a little bit better.
Nice.
Very good.
All right, this morning we want to update you about an earthquake, a 4.2 magnitude earthquake that hit near Coso Junction. That's about 30 miles near Ridgecrest, where we felt those big earthquakes within the last week. The 6.4 and the 7.1 on July 4th and July 5th. There's been thousands of aftershocks out in that area. This one happened at about 1:38 this morning. So far, no reports of any injuries, no reports of any damage, but we'll continue to monitor that for you.
Well, now a tropical depression Barry is dumping rain all over the Gulf Coast, and even as it weakens, some people could see severe storms as that system slowly churns to the north.
Meantime, the mayor of New Orleans says the city avoided disaster. David Daniel has a look at the latest conditions.
Tropical Storm Barry sparing New Orleans.
We absolutely made it through the storm. Beyond lucky, we were spared.
Tropical Storm Barry is weakening as it pushes inland. It was a hurricane when it made landfall Saturday, though it was quickly downgraded as it weakened over land.
It seemed as those bands moved closer to New Orleans, it seemed to just go around us.
But forecasts warn more rain is on the way.
This storm still has a long way to go before it leaves the state.
Rescue crews worked through the weekend. The U.S. Coast Guard airlifted residents to safety as floodwaters surrounded their homes on Saturday. In Terrebonne Parish, crews shored up the levee after floodwaters topped it.
The people are very well protected. We had no flooding in here. First time, we've never had 9 foot of water where these people haven't gone underwater. I mean, it's a great day for Terrebonne that these levees do work.
Forecasts show days of rain are ahead. 11 million people were under flash flood watches on Sunday. Some could see severe weather as Barry continues to push inland. I'm David Daniel reporting.
Back here at home, a sheriff's deputy is on the mend after being stabbed by a knife-wielding suspect. The attacker was then shot by the deputy, and he remains in the hospital this morning. Shortly after 3 o'clock Sunday morning, a sheriff's deputy responded to a call for assistance. The family telling the deputy that arrived that one of their family members had a knife. This all happened just after 4 a.m. Suddenly, the man charged at the deputy, officials say, and cut his arm. The deputy then shot the man. Both were taken to a local hospital. At last report, the suspect was listed in critical condition with major wounds. The deputy is recovering from moderate wounds. According to KCSO, the deputy was alone, which is normal, they say, for a suspicious activity call.
Tomorrow, the Kern County Board of Supervisors is expected to hear a presentation on the county's response plan for public safety power shutoffs. We are in the midst of wildfire season, and utility companies like PG&E and SoCal Edison are already implementing these shutoffs as a precaution. Last month, the county's Emergency Council formed a team to develop a response plan for consequences of a sustained power outage throughout the county. That team has devised a plan, and now they want to bring it before the Board of Approval and for any recommendations. This presentation will be open to the public tomorrow at the Board of Supervisors office at 9 a.m. located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue.
Speaking of utilities, SoCal Gas bringing a new regional base to Bakersfield, and it's set to open today. The new base and training center is to be located on McMurtry Avenue in Oildale. It's a 31,000 square foot facility, and it will be one of SoCal Gas's main bases. And they say it will bring clean, affordable natural gas to Bakersfield, Kern County, and parts of the San Joaquin Valley. There will also be a fueling center available for public use beginning this fall. The grand opening is slated to happen at 11 o'clock this morning.
New details in a massive oil spill in the Kern County Canyon. State regulators are calling out Chevron this morning, saying the company has not done enough to prevent future spills from happening. Since May, nearly 800,000 gallons of oil and water have been dumped into the canyon, just 35 miles west of Bakersfield. Chevron says when the flow was noticed, they immediately notified the appropriate regulatory agencies. The company also said the flow has been stopped and contained, and that there has been no impact on waterways or wildlife. However, now regulators are taking a step further by ordering the company to take more action to prevent future spills and stop steam injections around the spill.
Today is the first day in a summer-long series of Junior Police Academy sessions. The BPD is teaming up with the Police Activities League to provide kids 14 to 17 with a foundation of law enforcement skills, while also helping them to become productive members of the community. The sessions will focus on leadership, accountability, and problem solving in a fun and educational environment. These sessions will be running from now through August.
If you're looking for something to keep the kids busy this summer, head on over to the Kern County Museum for their weekly Camp Discover. Every Monday this summer, a new camp kicks off at the museum. It's open to children aged 5 to 10. Themes include earth, culture, art, and much more. Children get to take part in fun and educational activities and crafts that are geared toward building positive friendships. The camp is running until August 5th. They're currently accepting registration for their July 29th camp. We have a link to register on our website, turnto23.com.
If you're looking for a family environment, something to do when the sun goes down, well, stay calm and head to Calm. See? That way you can make your way out to the Calm Living Museum for Twilight at Calm. The public comes out between 5 and 8 p.m. every day through August 24th. You can bring picnic dinner, enjoy time with your loved ones and the animals out there. Admission's just $5 for adults, $3 for kids between 3 and 12 years of age. A lot of fun.
Yeah, if you are headed out to that event, we are tracking those high temperatures. So 5 p.m. 100 degrees, cooling down to the mid-90s, so still fairly warm, but a nice breeze later on this evening. And we are tracking moderate air quality today, so it has improved. We had a few days where we were unhealthy for sensitive groups. Hazy conditions were in the valley. Today we are tracking that AQI of 90, so significantly better compared to what we were experiencing yesterday. But widespread triple digits across the valley again today, although trending slightly cooler compared to where we topped out yesterday. We reached 104 here in Bakersfield, reaching just 100 today, 95 at the Grapevine. Over in our mountain communities, 87 in Frazier Park as well as Tehachapi, 95 up in Lake Isabella. Out in our desert cities, we're tracking triple digits in most areas of the desert, 98 in Mojave, 106 in Ridgecrest. But thankfully, more seasonal temperatures are right around the corner. Low pressure is going to be moving in. It's also going to be, like I said, bringing some breezy conditions later on this evening through tomorrow. I'll have more details on that coming up.
Still to come, you have heard of fingerprinting, but have you ever heard of snout printing?
What?
Or more to the point, snout recognition software. Yeah. I'll tell you about this new tech. It's helping reunite lost dogs with their owners.
And these two stars hugging it out on stage. The special reunion at a concert that had the audience over the moon. Coming back.
Welcome back to 23 ABC. There are no major traffic incidents to report at this time. Those freeways right now moving freely, but stay with us for the latest updates on your traffic.
The case continues for a caregiver accused of killing an elderly patient. Here's a preview of today's Court TV.
I'm Vinny Politan. Today on Court TV, we are in a verdict watch. That means a verdict can happen at any moment. It's a jury in Cobb County, Georgia, that must decide if a caregiver is guilty of the murder of one of the residents of the assisted living facility that he was working at. So we're on a verdict watch at any moment. When that verdict comes in, you'll see it and hear it live right here on Court TV.
American Airlines announced it is canceling flights into early November over the grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX jet. The world's largest airline said Sunday it's extending cancellations through November 2nd. That amounts to about 115 flight cancellations a day. It previously canceled flights through September 2nd. The airline said it is confident that coming software updates and new training elements will lead to the aircraft being recertified this year. The planes were grounded in March, if you remember, following those two fatal international crashes. The Federal Aviation Administration and safety regulators around the world have not yet cleared it to return to the air. Last month, a new potential problem was discovered during testing. American has 24 of Boeing's best-selling 737 MAX jets in its fleet.
Snout recognition is reuniting lost dogs and their families. A startup called Magvi says just like how humans have unique fingerprints, dogs have unique nose prints. The startup says the tech works 95% of the time, and it's helped 15,000 pets end up back at home. It's easy to use. You just take pictures of the dog's snout from different angles, like you're setting up Face ID on an iPhone. The startup says the technology will also help keep track of owners who do not pick up after their dogs or who let their dogs run around off the leash. I'm thinking if you just have pictures of your dog, though, that works too.
You could get a microchip.
That's true.
He really does get by with a little help from his friends. He does. Check it out. Hot club. All right. Paul McCartney. Did it catch me?
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Paul McCartney inviting his old bud, his bandmate Ringo, to join him on the last stop of his Freshen Up tour at Dodger Stadium Saturday. Several people were from Bakersfield were tweeting and Facebooking pictures of the two. They are the last two surviving members of the Beatles, as you know. They rocked out on stage to classics like Sgt. Pepper, Helter Skelter. The crowd obviously loving it. Any type of surprise. Whenever you have a surprise at a concert, a surprise, somebody shows up and
one like that.
Yeah.
That's
it's
incredible.
Just awesome.
Yeah. You'll soon be hearing Simba roar in theaters once again as the actors gathered for the world's premiere of the live-action film. The world's premiere was held at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. The film, of course, features Donald Glover, who was born in Kern County and is voicing Simba in the film. Beyonce lends her voice to Nala, and James Earl Jones reprised his role as Mufasa. The Lion King will be in theaters on July 18th.
Well, two new movies arrived in theaters this weekend, taking aim at the two big box office champs. But which pair came out on top?
ABC's Christopher Watson has more on what's happening in Hollywood.
I just always feel like I'm putting my friends in danger.
Spider-Man Far From Home easily held on to the top spot at the weekend box office, earning another $45.3 million in week 2 of release. Debuting best of the newcomers is the action horror flick Crawl, $12 million for third place, about what was expected.
I'm Stu. How do you do? Compton.
The comedy Stuber feeling the effect of tepid reviews with a fourth place $8 million opening. Avengers Endgame's now just $7.16 million away from tying Avatar as the all-time box office champ. If it hangs in there, it could surpass Avatar's $2.788 billion global gross in another 2 weeks. Following Saturday's 5-hour power blackout in Manhattan, Jennifer Lopez has rescheduled her canceled sold-out show that night at Madison Square Garden for Monday night.
What's up, New York City?
J. Cole's compilation album Revenge of the Dreamers 3 debuts in the top spot on the Billboard 200 albums chart this week. And Linda Ronstadt, 73 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Christopher Watson, ABC News.
And We are tracking a low pressure system moving into the region. That's what's going to be cooling those temperatures today. So we'll be slightly cooler compared to where we were at yesterday. And then even cooler temperatures are on the way headed into this week. But taking a look at today, we are going to be warming up quickly. Low 90s by noon, upper 90s by about 2 p.m. Then reaching the triple digits, topping out at 100 here in Bakersfield. But we are tracking those gusty winds possibly later on this afternoon, especially in the mountain passes, reaching potentially 7-mile-per-hour winds around 5 p.m. here in Bakersfield, picking up even more later on tonight. And those wind speeds will stay strong, especially in the mountains as well as our desert through those early morning hours tomorrow. And thankfully, those temperatures not really fluctuating by much. They're going to be cooling down to the upper 90s, and it looks like those upper 90s will continue throughout the week, reaching 97 tomorrow, warming up slightly to 99 on Wednesday. Headed into Thursday as well, but then we're cooling down even more on Saturday, mid-90s, so below average for this time of year. In the Kern River Valley, 95 and sunny today, low 90s tomorrow, and we'll see those mid-90s return by your midweek, low 90s headed into the weekend. 87 and sunny in Tehachapi today, 84 tomorrow, then we'll see those mid-80s with an increase in cloud cover on Wednesday and Thursday. Then we'll see those low 80s headed into your weekend. So next weekend's looking absolutely beautiful. Fraser Park 87 as well, and sunny mid 80s tomorrow. We'll see that increase in cloud cover in Fraser Park on Wednesday and Thursday as well, but mostly sunny skies. Those skies clearing even more starting on Friday headed into your weekend as those temperatures cool down to the low 80s on Saturday.
Bakersfield's newest business will be opening its doors today. Home is going to be hosting its grand opening today. They say it's a boutique and a bakery, and you can see on their Instagram here they have all kinds of photos of cookies, of cakes, of clothing as well. They have a lot going on down there. They're saying that their first 100 visitors will get a free sugar cookie today. One visitor will be randomly selected to receive a free cookie every day for a year. They're going to be open from 7 a.m. until 6 o'clock on weekdays, 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock on weekends. They're going to be located on Truxton Avenue, right next door to that new Goose Looney's location. So go check them out.
Still to come, a teen in Florida speaking out after close encounter. I'll tell you the message she's sending out. Guess what it's about? Coming up.
And Fisher friends, not food, right? That's the motto for one particular shark. That's next on 23 ABC.
Welcome back. It is 5:51. We are taking a live look right now at New Orleans as Tropical Depression Barry is expected to cause significant and what is called potentially life-threatening flooding over the next few days. Roads have been washed out in outlying areas. Rescue teams were busy. Remember we showed you this picture, I believe it was Friday, and the water was just flooding through the streets. But right now, as you can see, looks pretty calm. Thousands of people, though, across the Gulf Coast region are without power. People along the Gulf and up to Tennessee and Missouri are currently stacking sandbags, getting ready for that flooding. Today, Second Harvest Food Bank in the area is bringing about 170,000 people supplies. The sorority Delta Sigma Theta donated to them. The food bank picked up a 53-foot refrigerated semi over the weekend. Well, things may soon get a little spicy in space. NASA working to send the Espanola chili pepper to the International Space Station. This will be the first fruiting plant the U.S. harvested there. Okay. The space agency wants to send astronauts to Mars, and they need to send food with plenty of nutrients.
Of course.
So scientists believe the pepper can be pollinated very easily and thrive in a high carbon dioxide environment. Chili peppers, which are packed with plenty of vitamins, will also help astronauts stay healthy. NASA has already grown some foods in space, including varieties of lettuce, red Russian kale, and Mizuna mustard.
I think that's interesting. Amazon Prime Day is officially here. We have that and much more in this morning's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, a warning ahead of Amazon's Prime Day sales.
Security experts say shoppers should go to Amazon directly from your browser rather than through an email or a link that's sent to you. That's because those links could take you to websites that may look like Amazon, but are actually meant to steal your credit card data. And as for shopping, Amazon is promising more than 1 million deals over its 2-day sale.
Those include up to 50% off some TVs and up to 40% off select toys. Walmart and other retailers are offering competing sales. And this flying soldier stole the show at Still Day parade. That's the inventor himself aboard what he calls the flyboard.
Pretty fly. France is looking into the flyboard's possible military uses and has given him almost $1.5 million to work on it. Also notice he's carrying a rifle.
Can I have one?
Multitasking.
Can I have one? Can I have one?
No. Those are your Tech Bites.
Have a great day.
Rather have a jet pack.
Oh, yeah.
A teenager's on the mend following a shark attack off the coast of Florida. Take a look. Jackie Jezaitis' foot was bitten while she was boogie boarding in knee-high water off the coast of Amelia Island Friday. The 16-year-old said she was freaking out and ran to the beach. A friend helped out by wrapping her foot with a towel and elevated it. The bite was near her Achilles tendon, but it wasn't damaged. Jackie says she learned a valuable lesson.
The main thing for me was to come out of this was to make sure of your surroundings and to be like knowing of what's happening around you. Because if I had have like maybe decided not to go during sunrise, because I found out that that's when the sharks feed during sunrise, and we didn't know that.
Doctors say Jezaitis can't put any weight on her foot right now and for the next 6 weeks, but she's very lucky.
A shark you can find off the east and west coasts that eats its veggies. Look at.
Right then, the meeting has officially come to order. Let us all say the pledge. I am a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine.
Researchers found that bonnethead sharks digest about half of the seagrass they swallow as they eat fish and crustaceans. They published a study that says it's first discovery of its kind. The bonnethead shark lives in warmer waters off the east and west coasts.
Bonnethead.
Yeah.
Right.
This one's hard to look away from for me. Take a look at this video out of Japan. It turns out this shellfish is actually somewhat of a transformer. The octopus emerging from the seashell, then leaping there off the boat. It was caught by a fisherman, and this guy found a way to get away.
It's just creepy.
It's hard to look away from. It's really creepy, but I can't stop looking. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I can't believe they caught it on camera. That's crazy. Taking a look at our temperatures outside, already warming up, 74 right now in Bakersfield, so it's going to be another hot one, but cooler compared to where we were at yesterday. 1 degree cooler than it was at this time yesterday. As for the rest of the county, 69 right now at the Grapevine, 58 in Pine Mountain Club, 63 in Tehachapi, 75 in Lake Isabella, 77 out in Mojave, and 73 up in Ridgecrest. More seasonal temperatures are on the way, upper 90s headed into the rest of the week starting tomorrow, and then we'll see those temperatures cool even more to the mid 90s by Saturday, but then we start warming up slightly on Sunday, not by much throughout the week headed into next weekend. We're just going to be fluctuating by a few degrees here and there, stable conditions, seasonal for this time of year. So after today, no triple digits in the forecast for now.
Straight ahead, the president taking to Twitter, calling out a number of congresswomen. I'll tell you how the Democrats are responding to his rant this morning.
Plus, if you're hitting the road, we have some good news for you if you need to fill up the tank. That's coming up next at 6 a.m.